What's going on, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to OCG Metagame Breakdown number 1 post-ban list, finally. So in case you kind of missed out on what happened, the ban list demolished like everything, so Sprite is like way worse now. I think every single Sprite card is limited pretty much, well, in not red and carrot, but like starter, blue, jet, Elf might be banned, something like I don't even know. And Tearlaments is also completely destroyed. So Kalos is banned, and then every single main deck monster in the field spell are limited. So in other words, people have to play other decks now. And you might be thinking, wow, this is beautiful. The ban list actually made things so much better. Absolutely not, because now we had some previously broken decks still being broken. So yeah, it didn't really fix anything. It just kind of changed the problem, but I mean, whatever. I'm saying that only because I don't like Purely, but anyways, this video is going to be very interesting and packed with a lot of good information that I think will really help you out, even if you're in the TCG. But before we get into this video, make sure you like and subscribe, check me out on Twitch and Instagram, and now let's get right into it. Alright, so 120 top-performing decks from 25 tournaments in Japan, mainland China, Taiwan, South Korea. Pretty much only 5 days. Nobody cares about this new card. Alright, so the first best deck is a Purely with 15%. It's not that much, so whatever, but just give it some time. It's probably gonna increase to like 30% next week. 11 Kashtira, which obviously made sense. I predicted that deck to be second or third best deck, and it is, of course. So the deck technically, in terms of power, is full power, but in terms of consistency, it's not full consistency, because there's only one Fenrir, one Unicorn, and one field spell. So no card is banned, so you can technically do whatever you want, but you're gonna be doing it way less often, and the grind game must be ass. So it's pretty much like relies on birth and everything. So yeah, I really don't like Kashtira in the OCG, and I don't like it in the TCG as well. The Super Heavy Samurai also being top tier. I predicted that as well. Of course, makes a lot of sense. Vanquished Soul is the one deck I forgot about when I made my top 10 best decks for the OCG. And then someone reminded me of that, and I was like, shit, that's true. Yeah, Vanquished Soul is going to be really good. And of course, it is. It's a really good deck. It plays with only one card. The Link one is insane. There's so many searchers in that deck. It's really crazy. And the boss monsters are really nice as well. And you can play There Can Only Be One because every single monster has a different type. And if there was like a Gozen match for attribute, you could also play, well, rather There Can Only Be One for attributes, you could do that, but nah, there's not, that floodgate doesn't exist yet. We have Rivalry, Gozen, There Can Only Be One, only missing one, Alameo. And anyways, after that, we got Adamantipator, which technically should be in the Super Heavy Samurai, category, because every single Adamantipator build plays Super Heavy Samurai cards. So in other words, the Super Heavy Samurai engine actually has a representation of at least 19, which makes it actually better than Purely. So that's definitely something to take into consideration, because sometimes you only see like the numbers and you don't really try to understand like too in depth of what's going on. But yeah, the Super Heavy Samurai engine is really, really broken. Of course, one card combo, who's gonna say no to that? Anyways, Branded, again, Branded Fusion is at 1 in the OCG, so that's the big difference, because in the TCG, in that format, I think Branded would be like overpowered if Branded Fusion was still 3. Anyways, Exorcister, Labyrinth. This deck got a little nerf with Skill Drain to 1, but that's pretty much it. Tearlaments, I don't understand how people can still actually play that deck. It's complete trash. Big Copium deck. Sky Striker. Alright, yeah, that's a pretty cool deck. I mean, they have 2 Engage and 3 Kigari, so that's actually much better than in the TCG. Well, much better. We have 1 Engage, 3 Kigari, so they have 1 more Engage. Anyways, Math Mech, we definitely saw some Math Mechs actually topping a few YCSs here and there in the TCG recently, so cool deck. Flunderies, Runic, Bestiole, Dragon Link, Magician, Matadome, Scareclaw, Valiance, Bestiole, Thunder Dragon, Dino, Eldritch. Nobody plays Eldritch anymore. People all play Labyrinth. Ishizu, Lawnmowing, Tearlament, Shadow Branded, Jesus, Hero, Kashtira Generator, the hell, Math Mech, what the hell is this? Probably Fossil Dyna bullshit. Punk Phantom Knights, Super Heavy Samurai Infernity, bro, what the hell? And Sword Soul only 1? God damn, that's crazy. Now, Flunderies actually managed to go really far in the tournament in the TCG, so that's really impressive. And nobody's playing Runic in the OCG anymore because they're getting bored of the Runic stun build, and for some freaking reason, nobody plays Naturia Runic. Now, in the TCG, people do play Naturia Runic because most players are stupid and they don't know how the deck works, so obviously they keep losing to it. But if you know how to beat Naturia Runic, I swear to God, I've seen crazy things. I've seen people have like 7 cards in hand in Naturia Runic and lose, because you run out of the Naturia cards really quickly. So you have to start playing like a runic deck at some point. But you know, you might as well just play like a better runic deck. I don't know, it's just, so many things are wrong with the deck. Anyways, Purely, so Alive, what a beautiful name, went 6-1 and finished blah 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 in a tournament with blah blah blah, and someone else played the exact same build and went 6-0-1. Alright, pretty cool. So the Purely deck they were playing, so both of these guys, Alive and Imura, they were all inspired by the build of Kuki Kosaka, which was the world champion of 2019 with Salamangreat. Big innovator, actually. It's not the first time that I see him over here. There was actually someone else that, Chia Ching Wang, actually. Yeah, he's the one who developed Danger Tearlaments. So very, very creative, actually. Because before that, everybody was playing like a pretty boring build. Either branded Tearlaments, which I didn't like, or like Handshap's Tearlaments, which I actually think was unplayable. But yeah, Danger Tearlaments was really, really disgusting. And also Punk Tearlaments. And after that, we got, well, yeah, after that, we got Bestial Tearlaments and the Ishizu Tearlaments. But anyways, that build is actually main decking 3 Santa Claus and a lot of triple tactic tasking to search the Herald of the Abyss in order to search the Purely Noir. Herald of the Abyss, man, you gotta invest in this card. It's gonna go up like crazy. Everybody wants this card because it's a normal spell card searchable by tasking in order to out a monster that is unaffected by card effects, because it makes the opponent send, you know, his own monsters. So it bypasses card effects. It's more of like a game mechanic. So that way, even if your opponent has Ultimate Falcon, it doesn't matter, you can still make it go to the graveyard. So that's really cool, and also some people are playing some other cards like Kurikara, which is nasty. I would actually main deck 3 copies of this card. It's so good! And the reason why it's so good is because it's kind of like a Kaiju against Purely and Kashtira, but it does more than that, because you can revive back your opponent's monster, you can jump over stuff in... You know, because the Kaiju monsters, you give something to your opponent, whereas Kurikara, you give yourself something, so much better card. It's a level 1 monster as well, if you want to make some rank 1 plays, because the Purely monsters are also level 1, so that's really nice. Now, the Crystal Beast package is still being played, but as you can see, there's no more Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which is extremely interesting. So 3 Bridge of Salvation, 1 Cobalt Eagle, and the Bridge of Salvation, the only card that you can search is Purely Street, Stray Purely Street, sorry. So that's the field spell for the deck. Basically, the effect is, the turn your Purely monsters are special summoned, they cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And then there's another effect that allows you to like attach a Purely quick play from your deck or graveyard to one of your Xyz monsters on the end phase. And the final effect is, whenever one of your Purely monster dies, I think you can like revive back a monster, like recycle back a card from the graveyard to the hand, something like that. So yeah, it's a good field spell, it has a lot going for it, but it's not a starter on its own. So that's the reason why there's only 2 and there's no terraforming. That would create a lot more, way too much redundancy, which I don't think you really want in this deck. It doesn't really make too much sense. And the Cobalt Eagle doesn't really do anything, it's really just a discard fodder. So yeah, it actually doesn't do jack shit at all. Outside of, you know, being the sole reason why you can even trigger Bridge of Salvation, because you have to search a Crystal Beast. It's not like optional. And by the way, Bridge of Salvation is a once per duel effect. You're not really trying to draw multiple copies of this card and use the effect multiple times. 1 Crystal Beast monster is all you really need and all you can really afford to play. If I recall correctly, this one, the Crystal Beast Cobalt Eagle, can actually place itself on the top of the deck so that you can still search with Bridge of Salvation. Yeah, its effect is once per turn you can target 1 Crystal Beast card you control, place that target on the top of the deck. So that's the reason why Cobalt Eagle is always played over the other ones, because it goes from Garnet to Takatomborg when you draw it with Bridge of Salvation and a purely memory quick play spell card. And again, just to make sure that everyone understands, every single purely quick play spell is being played at 3. So this one, I forgot the name, this one too, and this is the Happy Memory. It's the best one, of course, because on the standby phase, you draw 1 card for each Happy Memory in your materials underneath your Xyz monster. So that's actually really freaking disgusting. And this is the Continuous Spell, so another really nasty card. A lot of spell cards, man. If you use Eradicator Epidemic Virus against this deck, you're gonna be in the driver's seat. By the way, yesterday, I made the Eradicator Epidemic Virus video, as well as, for sure, Deck Devastation Virus and everything. And just look at that. Everybody's playing spell cards. Not just Sky Striker, Runic, and everything, but everybody. Like, freaking Kashtira's playing a lot of spells. Sometimes the builds, they have more spells than monsters and traps combined. So, yeah, if you can resolve Eradicator Virus against these decks, you're in a really good position. Anyways, the side deck, 2 Nibiru, 2 Rikirikara, 2 Imperms. Not a lot of hand traps anymore in the main deck. I like that. I like a board breaker approach, because if people are playing the triple tactic cards, you're not really trying to draw, you know, weak hand traps like Ash or Valor. They do nothing against Purely at all, because every single quickly spell special summons from the deck. Are you really trying to Ash a card that I can just have like any other quick play spell and play the game anyways? No, of course not. And Valor also does nothing, whereas Herald of the Abyss actually does something, so that's not too bad. But yeah, definitely a beautiful build. And the one Imperm isn't really sketch, because you can get hand trapped by like a Maxi or Ash or something, and then go tasking into Imperm, so it's better than nothing. So I understand everything about this deck list. I think it's a really well-built deck list, very beautiful. The one-ofs are not random, because again, they can be searched with tasking, so absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that 2 people topped with the exact same build, literally, it's literally written here, definitely speaks volume on how just incredible this deck is, and I think I understand more and more what the deck is trying to achieve now. So yeah, I really like it. And but 2 Prosperity in the side deck, I'm not gonna pretend like this isn't sus, because this is one of the sketchiest things I've ever seen in my life. There might be like a reason for that, but I don't know, it just seems like really awkward. Maybe you side in this card when you're not playing against Kashtira, because if you have like more banish cards, they banish you more cards with Diablosis. I don't freaking know, and I don't even care. Alright, Lisa Bing, sorry, holy shit, I destroyed this. Lee Sangbin went 7-1, and what finished 3rd in a 36 team tournament, so 108 players. So yeah, you know, Kashtira has to get ready for the Kaiju Monsters and Santa Claus. Santa Claus, by the way, the reason why it's played over the Kaiju Monsters is that it can be summoned in defense, so you can go like Xyz Monster attack over, and then make a Zeus, because in the Purely deck, the Xyz Monsters are very weak. So if you attack over like a Kaiju Monster, they will die, but if you attack over a defense position monster, then your Zeus is free to go. So yeah, Santa Claus being a little better, and the drawback is nullified if you don't let the Santa Claus stay until the end phase. So yeah, just in case you're wondering why Santa Claus is being played now. But yeah, nothing interesting about this Kashtira deck list. 3 Ogre, of course, you have to, because there is not a lot of names, so you're really trying to play more names. And Tearlaman's Kashtira doesn't have to be played. The Scareclaw is way better, because it outs Baguska and some other random BS, and also has the neat negation effect when it battles a monster, so sometimes people forget about that. And you can catch people off guard and actually break boards with this card. It's really interesting, but whatever. The extra deck really has nothing interesting. Nothing that really catches my eye. Lava Golem Droll, Cosmic Judgment, a Pointer of the Red Lotus. They have 3 of this card. It's ridiculous, man. And you can search it with tasking, but this build is not playing tasking. Only 1 talents, but I don't dislike that. I don't really like tasking unless you're going second really often. Because yeah, going first, if all you're doing is just get like an Imperm, it's pretty weak. But anyway, Super Heavy Samurai. So yeah, a lot of builds played the exact same... well, a lot of decks that topped played the exact same build. So we're trying to summon Naturia Exterio and Scythe the opponent. So they have Dagda into Scythe. We don't have Scythe anymore in the TCG. So that's the reason why I don't really want to waste too much time here. But yeah, as you can see, man, this deck plays no spells or traps for obvious reasons. Because it would clash with these Super Heavy Samurai monsters. But that means that you can lose very hard to one specific card that I'm not going to spoil right now, but yeah, a lot of utility cards, 19 to be exact. That's ridiculous. So 2 Kaijus, 2 Kurikara, 2 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Mourner, 3 Maxi, 3 Joel. That is crazy. Absolutely freaking crazy. And you have a lot of 1-card combos as well. This is the Prodigy Wakushi 1-card starter. This is the Wagon, Soul Piercer's a 1-card starter, and the Bike 1-card starter. Every path leads to Rome. And now the other Super Heavy Samurai monsters, they're kind of like Takatomborgs. You're not really trying to draw them. The Big Banke, if you draw 2 copies of it, you're screwed. If you draw 1 copy and you play like 2, then you're fine. It's basically Garnet with Brilliant Fusion. But yeah, whatever. I mean, if you want like more information on this deck, I think I'm probably just gonna have to update my Super Heavy Samurai combo video. But yeah, the extra deck, there is one interesting card. One of those cards, actually one of the weird synchro monsters for Super Heavy Samurai, destroys your own card so that you can destroy the Dagda. The Scythe, so that you can scythe your opponent. So yeah, very cute, but irrelevant. And in the side deck, even more monsters. So again, no spells, no traps, that is crazy. Denko Seka and Trap Eater, Archfiend Eccentric, that is nuts, man. Absolutely freaking crazy. So Labyrinth is not gonna have a really good time against this deck. Trap Eater for the Floodgates, can you search Trap Eater, or is it like a random one of? I don't think you can search it. Gear Gigant is the way you search Cyberstein, by the way. So it's not like a random one of that you have to like sack in order to summon Natura Exterio. And Gear Gigant, of course, is a joke to access to because all of your Super Heavy Samurai monsters are machines, level 4 for the most part. A consistent combo. Again, Kurikara, third one in the side deck. It's so popular in the TCG and OCG because it deals with the two best decks, Kashtira and Pirelli, and it's not bad against Super Heavy Samurai because you activate like a spell card, it gets negated by Exterio, and then you tribute the Exterio away, and then you can jump over like another negate. So yeah, it's just a great way to like break a lot of boards, and also you can revive back again the negations that you broke from your opponent. Shifter in the side deck is extremely confusing, but the one thing that I used to be confused at first was Retaliating Sea, and I understand the logic. So obviously, well, first of all, in the TCG, in the OCG, they can search Max C when Retaliating Sea is sent from the field to the graveyard. So even going first, Retaliating Sea is a really good card to side in. But going second against Pirelli, they play a lot of spell cards that summon monsters, so you can use Retaliating Sea and then all their cards get banished, but the issue is that they can out it by going into the Expurely Plump, and then when they activate the effect of a Purely Quick Play, they can temporarily banish one of your monsters until the end phase, and then their cards no longer get banished, so they can start attaching every one of their Purely memories from the graveyard to their Xyz monster. So Retaliating Sea is not that good. It's not bad because I guess at least it applies pressure on the spot, and then you get it back as well, which is cool. So you're going to start your turn immediately with a monster on the field, and again, it's going to search Max C when it goes to the graveyard. Can you search Kumongous with Retaliating Sea? I don't believe you can. Yeah, Kumongous has to be here for like another reason. By the way, fun fact, you can actually Pendulum Summon Kumongous, not that it matters, but that's pretty hilarious. And finally, we got Vanquish Soul. Now, I do not understand the deck enough. All I can say is that both of these level 4 monsters that you see here, they're starters. So yeah, this deck is very consistent, and you can actually get 3 interruptions with one single card. Of course, as you can clearly see, the deck can play a lot of hand traps and floodgates. So 3 Astri, Maxi, 3 Droll, 2 Droll, 3 DD Crow, 2 Imperms, 2 there can only be ones, and of course some more miscellaneous consistency cards like Reinforcement of the Army and Infernoble Arms Durandal, which can search the Fire Warrior monster here. I forgot the name, but whatever, pretty cool. And again, Kurikara in the main deck, another Kurikara in the side deck, 1 random ass Machinamut. What the hell is this doing here? 3 Ghost Reaper. I guess it makes sense because the extra deck doesn't really matter too much, so again, a lot of targets actually. Balon for whatever if you really wanted. And then Zodiac Borbo, Chakanine, and Zeus is for yourself, actually. Stab a 4 material Zeus and attack directly. Expurely Noir, of course. Ghost Reapering, the Expurely Noir is broken against Purely. You can even main deck this card if you really want to, you know, destroy them, because without Expurely Noir, they will do nothing at all against you. Well, that's not true. They can still draw cards and have like big beaters, but they apply way less pressure. So if, you know, you have like Ghost Reaper and a good hand, you're always gonna win. And also for Electrum, that's crazy. What the hell? I haven't seen that in like so long. Nobody's playing freaking Pendulum in the OCG. Are you kidding me? Yeah, nobody's playing Draco Slayer. Nobody's playing... Okay, yeah, 2 Magician. Wow, big deal. Yeah, are you really citing... I mean, it doesn't matter again. The extra deck really just doesn't matter at all. The Super Heavy Samurai Link one, also, I don't know if I would really go for that one. I don't know, like, maybe what I would be doing would be... I would have, like, Natura Exterio as a Reaper target, and then when my opponent goes Cyberstein effect, I chain Reaper called Natura Exterio, so that you paid 5k and you can't summon anything. If I recall correctly, you can only summon fusion monsters with Cyberstein. If you can summon like any extra deck monsters, then I'm dumb. Okay, yeah, you can only summon fusion monsters. And the only fusion that they run is Natura Exterio. So I think that's what this player should be doing, actually. Instead of having like random ass targets that I don't think will come up. Like the Link one, really, you can play without it, honestly. It's really good, but you can definitely play without it. Unless your opponent goes like normal Soul Piercer, and then hopes that, you know, the opponent doesn't have a Reaper for the Link one. But yeah, anyways, side deck, Anti-Spell, whatever. Nobody's really playing this card either. But Anti-Spell, shockingly being really good against Super Heavy Samurai, which is funny because the deck doesn't play like any spell cards, but it plays Pendulum monsters, so they lose to Anti-Spell way harder. And of course, Anti-Spell against Kashtira and Purely is clearly broken. So I think this guy is onto something. Vanquish Soul, especially piloted by a good player, I think has the potential of completely catching people off guard, and I'm a big fan of the strategy for sure. So yeah, in conclusion, I didn't read any of that, so yeah, you can take a read at the conclusion if you want to, but yeah, again, huge shoutouts to Koki Kosaka, and the biggest shoutout is to Akira, your boy. And oh, yeah, he actually mentioned something about Wang Chiaching. Sorry, I completely demolished the name before. But yeah, he was seen playing Super Heavy Samurai, Ishizu, Adamantipator, freaking 60 card bullshit, and he actually did really well. But yeah, he's from Taiwan, and Koki Kosaka is from Japan. But this, this breakdown actually did include Taiwan. So yeah, this is definitely very... It's an accurate sample size. So, you know, a lot of pro players from, you know, pretty much everywhere in the OCG. Well, at least the best players, actually, because, you know, 2 world champions doing really well in this format. So that's definitely really nice to see. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.